Hey, what's up, everyone? Harrison here, the Arabian Pleb. Welcome to the Arabian Pleb show. Just get straight into it. So, on the last episode that I did, I commented on a clip, another clip from the Two Worlds Collide podcast, Sam Bamford. Sorry, mate. Hopefully, I'm getting your name wrong. Sorry if I'm not. But Sam from Two Worlds Collide podcast. And he interviewed a gentleman by the name of Jackson Warne. And I had no idea that it's Shane Warne's son. So, yeah, there you go. Apologies for not connecting the dots sooner. But anyway, like all of my points still stand of sort of my criticisms of some of the comments that he had made regarding the, not wanting to join the military after Ben Robert Smith, the Ben Robert Smith accusations. So, yeah. Anyway, that aside, but I seen another clip of Jackson from the same podcast and thought it was very interesting, worth getting into. So let's just hop right into that now. Let me just get it all queued up. How do I get a big screen? Okay. All right, so let's jump over here. Come on, Harrison. All right, let's play this.
They want to hear this. Do you think that the COVID shot killed your dad?
I definitely think it was involved, and I don't even think saying that is controversial anymore. Like with the amount of data that's come out, like even if Dad had underlying health issues, I think this brought it straight to the surface. And that's one thing that I've always been like, that's one thing I've always struggled with, because my first impression, as soon as I hung up the phone, I instantly blamed the government. I instantly blamed COVID and the vaccine, and doing things like the State Memorial where that's funded by VicGov and it's the MCG, and there has to be certain due diligence and people's in the crowds have to get photos and do all that stuff. I felt really uncomfortable. And at the State Memorial, I nearly actually said, I blame the government, I blame COVID, but I didn't. And it's probably smart I didn't. I would probably be in a very different position if I did. But that was how I felt. And so even the last 3-4 years when it's come up in conversations, like I have not changed my tune. Obviously, at the end of the day, we'll never, ever know. The autopsy's there and people can go online and look at it, and I know what's happened to him. But Dad, at the time, he was healthy. He was happy. He actually looked the best he'd looked in a while. Yes, he smoked and he drank, but how many more people in the 80s and 90s still smoke and drink? A lot more than Dad. Yes, a lot of people were dying of heart attacks before, but I know, and this is how I feel, it might not be true, but Dad was okay, and I think he might have got 3 or 4. I know he didn't want to get them. He was forced to get them for work.
He got boosters?
Yeah, I think. And he was forced to get them like everybody else. Like Dad wasn't the only person. I know when Dad passed, he was probably the most famous Australian that people could go, yep, that's COVID. But I try not to think about it too much, because all that does is just fester into more anger and anger. And that anger isn't good for anybody. What we're trying to do now with the Shane Warne legacy is actually spread as much awareness for heart health as possible. Because our mission is, I don't want people to get the same phone call we got. And I think a lot of people have realised now that there is nothing we can do for the people that have got vaccinated. The only alternative is actually to become the healthiest version of ourselves. And if something comes out like this again, at least we're more awake. At least we're more aware. But yeah, going back to Dad, even if it didn't directly if Dad had underlying health issues, maybe he was going to have a heart attack at 65, 70. I think all this just brought it to the surface. But I don't even
process.
Yeah, but I don't even think that's controversial to say.
No, it's not. There's been a lot of...
And it's been over 4 years now. If I came out and said this at the State Memorial, or a month after or a year after, maybe it's too soon. But I really do feel like now, the position I'm in, with all the information I've got, it has been over 4 years that me talking about this, hopefully people, because I've had so many messages from people saying, just wanted to let you know, Jacko, my dad's passed away of X, Y, Z. I also blame or have a feeling it's COVID. Was your dad's the same? Like, Dad wasn't the only person. There was hundreds of thousands and millions of people all around the world. So
Good on the kid, man. Like, fucking hell, dude. I can't imagine going through that and receiving that phone call. And, you know, like Shane Warne was just such a legend, such an Aussie icon, hero, the greatest spin bowler of all time, one of the greatest cricketers of all time. It's just tragic. It was such a tragedy, that him dying. And yeah, just good on young Jackson for speaking the truth and putting it out there, putting it on record, out to the public, exactly how he feels and exactly what his thoughts are surrounding his father's death. And I'm with him. I remember when we all first learnt about it, it just seemed pretty likely that the COVID vaccine had something to do with it. Who really knows? I mean, like Jackson said, we're never really going to find out. He said that we can look the autopsy up, that's online for everybody to see. So for anyone who's interested, go check out Shane Warne's autopsy and see what it came back as. But I would be very surprised if they mentioned anything to do with the vaccine. And in fact, I'm pretty certain that they didn't. It was just they ruled it as a heart attack. And we do know that there's all these issues with, particularly in men, regarding the COVID vaccine or vaccines, and the issues that it caused with the heart and cases of myocarditis and all this stuff. So, you know, a great tragedy, Shane Warne's passing, and my just sincere condolences and just absolute respect to young Jackson for not being afraid to speak his mind and actually, you know, tell the truth as he sees it. Oh, that's heavy, dude. But yeah, so yeah, that was young Jackson from the last episode where, you know, he was talking about the Ben Roberts-Smith stuff. So yeah, I had no idea until I seen that clip. All right, what else have we got? What else we got to go through? I seen another clip from the great Tim Dillon. Let's go over and check this out here, because Tim Dillon's just hilarious. And let's have a listen to what he's got to say. I think this is regarding the war in Iran, Trump's spectacular, tremendous, successful war in Iran. Let's go to Tim Dillon and see what his thoughts are.
So we've lost. There's nowhere to go. It's checkmate. We can't do the things we think we can. We're tweeting, we're truth socialing, whatever. We're trying to win the war on social media, and we're not even doing that because do you have the Lego thing up? Can you get that Lego video? We're not even winning the shit-talking war. We're not even winning that. The shit talk? You'd think America would win that, at least. If we're going to win one thing, we're getting bodied by Iranian AI in the war of shit talk. Truly. How embarrassing. We're the country that invented shit talk, and we're getting lit up. Take a look.
Orange pig. America first? Oops. Oh boy, that was the slogan you sold. But Bibi's pulling strings and your vote is getting cold. We're not just fighting for Iran, hear this clear. Your people reached out to us. Yeah, we got the DMs here. If one nation's gonna stand against the Epstein regime's fear, it's us till the last breath. We've been doing it for years. We're standing here for everyone. Your system ever wrong, they've known all along.
How are we losing? Yes! We are getting bodied with the Lego stuff.
Stealing from your own people, making them bleed, taking tax dollars just to fund your own greed. They waking up to the lies, the illusions of birth. You scream America first, now you put
Unbelievable.
Make Israel great again. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you.
I mean, we're not even winning that. We're losing that. I mean, it's unbelievable. God.
It's so good. Tim Dillon is the best. Tim Dillon is the best,
So we've
everybody.
lost.
Hang on,
There's
sorry.
nowhere to go. It's checkmate.
Oh my God. Let me go full screen. Oh my God. It's so good. It's so good. We got to find more Tim Dillon clips. He is so funny, dude. He just can somehow, he's such a great comedian. He can just like make comedy out of anything and everything. And that's what he does on his show. It's fantastic. So next up, we've got a clip from Megyn Kelly and her response to Trump and a Truth Social post that he had put out where he's like viciously attacking Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, someone else I'm forgetting. Anyway, all the best right-wingers and anyone who's like, you know, good on the issues of war and peace and really good on this war in Iran and how America should not have launched this, a sneak attack with Israel during negotiations. Just atrocious. Like, no honor, like indefensible war of choice, war of aggression. Anyway, so yeah, Trump's like, it was a long diatribe. It was like paragraphs and paragraphs of like just him just, like attacking all these people. And anyway, so let's have a listen to what Megyn Kelly has. Actually, you know what? I'm going to find the tweet. Not the tweet, the Truth Social. Give me 1 sec. Let me pull it up. All right, so I've got it here. Let's go to it. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in because I'm old. Okay, so this is Donald J. Trump, Truth Social post, and I believe it's from like the 10th of April. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, that was the other one I was forgetting, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the number one state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon because they have one thing in common: low IQs. They're stupid people. They know it. Their families know it, and everyone else knows it too. Look at their past. He said lock, but I guess he meant look at their past. Look at their record. They don't have what it takes, and they never did. They've all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited to TV because nobody cares about them. They're nut jobs, troublemakers, and will say anything necessary for some, quote, free, end quote, and cheap publicity. Okay, so first of all, like, it's hilarious that Trump thinks that, like, the epitome of success these days in terms of media is getting on TV. Like, that just could not be further from the truth. No one is watching cable news. No one is watching state-funded media. I mean, some people are, mainly the boomers, but the majority of people are getting their information from social media, from the internet. They're not really tuning into Fox News and CNN, MSNBC, or in Australia, Channel 9, Channel 7, ABC, SBS. Very few people are getting their news from those sources anymore. No one cares about TV. TV is a dinosaur, nearly extinct. It's all online now. It's all on the internet. That's where the action's at. So it's just hilarious that, because, Trump's like fucking 80. So yeah, like, he's just from a different time and still thinks that, like, that's where it's all happening, and that's, that's where people are going. But no, it's not the case at all. Where were we? Now they think that they get some clicks. It's funny how he's got quotations, like quotation marks around some of these words, like clicks and free, and so it seems like he doesn't really understand what quotation marks are meant to be used for. Now they think that they get some clicks because they have third-rate podcasts, but nobody's talking about them. Well, you are right now. If nobody was talking about them and they were so irrelevant, why do you feel the need to address them? Donald J. Trump, and their views are the opposite of MAGA, I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide. MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN a 100% approval rating of Trump, not hand-flailing fools like Tucker Carlson, who couldn't even finish college. He was a broken man when he got fired from Fox, and now he's never been the same. Perhaps he should see a good psychiatrist, or Megyn Kelly, who nastily asked me the now famous only Rosie O'Donnell question, or crazy Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she's not, and will hopefully win lots of money in the ongoing lawsuit. Actually, to me, the First Lady of France is a far more beautiful woman than Candace. In fact, it's not even close. It's not even close. Can we pull up? Hang on. We need to pull up Badrit. What's her name? Macron. Bajit? I don't know. First Lady of France. Let's see. Okay, let's get some images. Okay, all right. So, and then let's get a picture of Candace Owens. Candace Owens. All right. I'm not going to comment, but you guys tell me who's more beautiful, Bridget Macron or Candace Owens? You tell me who's more beautiful. Trump would say it's Bridget Macron. So, anyway. Where are we? I'm going also, actually, to me, the first... let him close. Or bankrupt Alex Jones, who says some of the dumbest things and lost his entire fortune, as he should have, for his horrendous attacks on the families of Sandy Hook shooting victims, ridiculously claiming it was a hoax. These so-called pundits, again, quotation marks, are losers, and they always will be. Fox, now fake news CNN, and they always will be. Now fake news CNN, the failing New York Times, and all the other radical left news organizations are hailing them, giving them the positive press for the first time in their lives. How funny is it, dude? Like, he starts off, so up here, I wish I could highlight it, but anyway, up here, he's going on about, he won the presidential election in a landslide. MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN 100% approval rating for Trump. So he's like, he's totally on board with this, what CNN's reporting when it comes to like his approval rating, but then CNN's now fake news because they hail Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and whoever else, like Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, for their criticism of Trump. I don't know. Are you following along? The failing New York Times and all of these other radical left news are hailing them, giving them positive press for the first time in their lives. They're not MAGA, they're losers, just trying to latch on to MAGA. As president, I could get them on my side anytime I want to, but when they call, I don't return their calls because I'm too busy on world and country affairs, and after a few times, they go nasty, just like Marjorie Traitor Brown. Righto. He's referring to Marjorie Taylor Greene. But I no longer care about that stuff. I only care about doing the right thing for our country. MAGA is about winning and strength in not allowing Iran to have a nuclear weapon, which they never did and have not made the political decision to make nuclear weapons. MAGA is about making America great again, and these people have no idea how to do that, but I do, because the United States is now the hottest country anywhere in the world. President Donald J. Trump. Okay, so that's the Truth Social post that he had put out there. Now, let's have a look at Megyn Kelly's response.
I don't know why the president's getting so desperate. It's completely inappropriate, and he knows it. I don't know why the president's getting so desperate for attention that he feels the need to mock 1.4 billion Catholics. It's enough, okay? It's enough with this nonsense. I know you love getting a rise out of people. I know you're really enjoying being subversive. You upset all the right people. I get it. But, why? Last week it was Muslims. Now it's Catholics. Who's next? I bet you it's not going to be the Jews. It's not going to be the Israelis. I promise you that. That's not coming. This is completely wrong. The president should take down that meme. He should apologize, which is something he never, ever does. But he doesn't care. He won't. He's not going to apologize because he's not sorry. Now, he must be feeling some sort of blowback because it's literally just breaking now that the president deleted the meme. He must be feeling how much he's misstepped with that particular meme. So somebody got to him and said, take it down. You've offended 1.4 billion Catholics who have done nothing to you. In fact, many of us have done nothing but support you. But support you when you get attacked over and over and over. And we would appreciate not being mocked for our religious beliefs. Something you seem to be increasingly fond of doing.
Right. So, and she is also, so not just that Truth Social post that I showed just before. She's not just referring to that. She's referring to, I guess, like Trump put out a meme of I'll try and find it, but it's like an AI image of him, like, of him as Jesus Christ. And there's some weird shit going on in the picture too, because it seems like there's like the Antichrist or a devil in the sky behind him. And yeah, so, I mean, let's just quickly try and find it. Oh, I'm recording. I had no idea. Okay. Whoops. All right. This one's classic. Oh, God. He's just... he's not making it easier on himself. He keeps just misstepping and blunder after blunder and just going against everything and anything that he ran on, that he campaigned on before coming president. He's just making the worst decisions imaginable and getting more people killed in stupid wars that are unnecessary and illegal, and he just shouldn't be doing. But yeah, this. So let's just have a quick look at this image. So this is like Trump. It looks like the Antichrist for real is in the background now. And then who have we got? He's healing Jeffrey Epstein. there's Ghislaine Maxwell over there. We've got Lindsey Graham, Benjamin Netanyahu, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz. So all the Israeli firsters. And this looks like Trump's wife, Melania, over here. So pretty wild shit. Rightio then. What do we got on antiwar.com? Let's go have a look at some of these headlines. See if we find anything worth delving deeper into. US sends thousands more troops, mulls ground ops. I don't know what mulls ground ops is or means. Thousands more troops to Middle East, considers ground ops in Iran. So by Dave DeCamp, the US is sending thousands of additional troops to the Middle East and is considering restarting the bombing campaign against Iran or launching ground operations in the country, the Washington Post reported on Wednesday, citing unnamed US officials. The report said that the forces include 6,000 troops abroad, the aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush, and its accompanying warships. Notably, the Bush travelled around southern Africa on its way to the region instead of going through the Mediterranean and the Suez Canal, the typical route of US warships, signaling the US is concerned the Houthis in Yemen could close the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. About 4,200 other US troops, including thousands of Marines, are heading to the region from the Pacific aboard the Boxer Amphibious Ready Group. The Post said they are expected to reach the Middle East by the end of April. Once both forces arrive, the US will have more than 60,000 troops in the region. So this is the Marines aboard the USS Portland, part of the Boxer Amphibious Ready Group, conducting weapons functions check during a drill in the Pacific Ocean on April the 9th. And the photo, it's a US Marines Corps photo. Okay. That's something that, like, this war is, like, kind of proving that some of this, like, more sophisticated American weaponry is obsolete when Iran can just fucking attack it with very, very cheaply made drones. One of these, whatever, like, US missiles, I think like a Tomahawk missile or whatever, like whatever these missiles are that the Americans are shooting, they cost like $1 million or $2 million, and Iran can fight back with like $20,000-$30,000 drones, I think it's the anti-missile missiles, like the defensive systems that the Americans have to shoot down any incoming missiles from Iran. They cost millions of dollars as well. And then, so Iran could be like attacking with a $20,000 drone. And then in order to shoot down that $20,000 drone, America's got to shoot up at least 2, sometimes 4, 6, and 8 of these $1 million missiles, these $1 million anti-missile missiles to shoot down a $20,000 drone. So, yeah, it's like the economics of war is rapidly changing and not in America's favor. The build-up and the US blockade of Iranian ports are framed as an effort to get Iran to agree to the US demands for a diplomatic deal. But according to President Trump, the US is continuing to demand that Iran make a commitment to never again enrich uranium for civilian purposes. What a fucking joke, as if Iran's going to agree to that. They need nuclear power to like run their civilian electricity and their civilian, like their hospitals. And so like the idea that they're ever going to agree to never enrich uranium is a joke. That's just a non-starter. This is an Israeli demand as well, by the way. Like this wasn't a objective of the Americans this entire time up until very recently, and it's coming from Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay. Never enrich uranium for civilian purposes, a condition that's seen as a non-starter and will likely lead to a renewal of the bombing campaign if the US sticks to it. The current ceasefire between the US and Iran will expire on April the 22nd if it is not extended. Other reports have said that President Trump has considered launching, quote, limited, end quote, strikes in Iran to get Tehran to capitulate, but any renewed bombing campaign will mean a return to full-blown war. Concerning possible ground operations, the Post report said that Trump administration officials have, quote, discussed everything from launching a complex special operations mission to extract Iranian nuclear material, like the enriched uranium, to landing Marines on coastal areas and islands to protect the strait, to seize Karg Island, an Iranian export facility in the Persian Gulf, end quote. Dude. Okay. Let's make this bigger so I can see. Chump. Yeah, should be calling him Chump. Trump rejects 20-year pause on Iran enrichment. China, US blockade of Iranian ports dangerous and irresponsible. Trump administration will resume enforcing sanctions on Iranian oil. Report Saudis want US to end Hormuz blockade. Leaked docs reveal details of Saudi-Pakistan Mutual Defense Pact. Israel-Lebanon talks held without Hezbollah. Well, that's a non-starter too. One Israeli soldier killed, 13 wounded in southern Lebanon fighting. And yeah, the fighting in southern Lebanon, or just in Lebanon, is unhinged and horrific. I've just been seeing videos. I seen a video today of a whole fucking... they're giving Lebanon the Gaza treatment, like whole apartment buildings just being blown to bits, just being leveled. Really horrific, disgusting stuff from the Israelis. Italy halts renewal of military MOU with Israel. I don't know. J Street, Israel should pay out of pocket if it wants US weapons. Yeah. Southcom kills 6 in latest boat strikes. US partially lifts Venezuelan bank sanctions after a decade. Gaza, Israeli attacks kill 9, including 3-year-old boy. Oh, it's depressing. Oh, it's so depressing, dude. Let's listen to a little bit of Dave Smith. This is his latest podcast. I was listening to it before I started recording this, and may as well just continue to listen to a little bit more of it with you guys, and maybe we can pause it, and if there's anything noteworthy to sort of delve into a little deeper, we can do that. Let's have a listen to the great Dave Smith, champion bloke.
To the NATO stuff second. So here you have the president, and this is what the quote ended up being, right? It was reported that he said the war is over, but he's not even making that declarative of a statement here. He's saying he thinks the war is close to being over. He said this on the first day of the war. The first day of the war. The weeks, not months, has already turned into months, not years, right? That's just an objective fact. We've already transitioned from weeks, not months, to months, not years. The whole time Donald Trump saying it's close to over. Now, again, I hope he's right, but where he says it's I think we're very close to over, and this is a victory because we've set them back 20 years. Of course, what exactly is a victory in that? That they'll be rebuilding for 20 years. That's what we get to come home with. A lot of human suffering over there. Okay. Now he says, it says we've decimated them. I think we're very close to, we've set them back 20 years and we're not done. So we will be killing more people. We will be destroying more of the country is his announcement there. But he says they really want to make a deal. They really want to make a deal. There is absolutely at this point no evidence suggesting anything like other than Donald Trump is just making this up. if they're so desperate to make a deal, why did you walk away from that 21-hour meeting with no deal in hand? And everything that's been reported, and including what Donald Trump himself has said, is that the sticking point in the negotiations was the nuclear issue. Now, it's not exactly clear. It seems the most likely answer here is that J.D. Vance and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner actually went back and made the same Israeli demand that you give up all enriched uranium and you can't even have a civilian legal nuclear program that you have the right under international law to have, which is, as we've talked about quite a bit, it's quite an ask. It's quite an ask for, if you just think about this for a second, right? It is there's a UN Security Council resolution, a binding resolution. It's never enforced, but this is international law. Like whatever, however you feel about international law. I'm not a big fan of it myself, but there is a UN Security Council resolution that insists that countries join the non-proliferation treaty. Israel refuses to. They say, nope, we never agreed to that treaty. We're not joining it. America is a member of the treaty. Iran is a member of the treaty. What the non-proliferation treaty said, well, it says a lot of things, but there's rules about what nuclear countries can do. And then if you're a not nuclear country, you agree to not develop nuclear weapons. And there's a bunch of regulations around what you're allowed to do. One of them is that you're not allowed to have normal relations, if you're a part of the non-proliferation treaty, with countries who have nuclear weapons and are not a part of the non-proliferation treaty. So Israel has nuclear weapons and is not a part of the non-proliferation treaty. So what they do is they don't admit they have nuclear weapons. Because if they did, there'd be all types of legal implications about the countries that work with them and have normalized relations with them. So what they call strategic ambiguity. Everyone knows they have them, but they just won't admit. There's satellite photographs. Like, we know they have them, but they won't admit it. And so this is like their end around. It's like not very clever, way to usurp the international law. But now, just to be clear, Iran has signed the non-proliferation treaty. They are abiding by it. They're members in good standing and have been for years. So now we're taking the demand of a country who has secret nuclear weapons. And their demand is that you can't have a non-weapon nuclear energy program. You can't even have a nuclear deterrent. You can't have.
And just to sort of further explain what Dave's sort of getting at here is from the Iranian perspective, and this is a point that Scott Horton makes, and I'm sure many other people have made it too, but just that Iran has, let me go full screen, but Iran has a lot of uranium, as a natural resource, and has a lot of oil. Now, there's not a lot of demand on the open market for their uranium, but obviously there is a lot of demand for their oil. The world runs on oil. Not a lot of the world runs on uranium and nuclear energy. So the calculation that the Iranians have made is that they will utilize their uranium to satisfy their civilian, energy needs and medical needs. And then with their oil, they'll sell it on the open market when they're not under blockade. So that's the economic calculation that they've made. It makes a lot of sense. They've got these things as natural resources. No one really wants to buy the uranium. Everyone wants to buy the oil. And Iran needs energy as well. So why not use the thing that no one else really wants for their energy purposes and then sell the thing that everyone really wants? It just makes sense. Anyway, so yeah, Israel is just such lying dishonest people. Like the when I say Israel, I mean like the Israeli government and the Likud party and the people that are in power. Obviously not obviously not like just the people of Israel. The vast majority of them are just innocent civilians. Got nothing to do with like what their leadership's doing. So just to make that distinction, not against all Jews. It's just the leadership in Israel are a mob of arseholes. Sorry for swearing. Oopsie. Forgot that I was... Okay, there we go. Let's go.
We can have secret nuclear weapons. So that's the starting point of the demand. Anyway, the point I'm getting to is if this was the starting point of the demand and the Iranians go, no, we're still not doing that. It was a no before the war. It's a no after the war. Where is this sign that the Iranians are desperate to make a deal? If they're desperate to make a deal, why wouldn't they have made the deal? They have the same, like, in other words, the same thing that was a red line for them before is still a red line for them now. That's what all the evidence points to. And look, because it's not as if we've had the minutes of the meeting for 21 hours released and we know every single thing that's been said. But look, it is also possible, because this is another thing that people like me and people in my camp have been warning about for, like about 20 years, some maybe a little bit more than that. But obviously, if you wanted to incentivize Iran to develop a nuclear weapon, this would be the way to do it. And so it's also quite possible that Iran is just simply...
Man, that's such a good point, what Dave's making right there. Like, if they weren't going to make a nuclear weapon before, which they weren't at all, there's no evidence that they were, well, they damn sure are they're more incentivized to make one now, like after being attacked in this way, sneak attack twice during negotiations. And the examples of states that gave up their nuclear weapons ambitions, think of Gaddafi, think of Saddam Hussein. Like, what happened to those guys? They got brutally overthrown, and in Gaddafi's case, like brutally murdered in the street, like sodomized to death with a bayonet, or sodomized with a bayonet and then shot in the head on the side of the road. And then you think of like the states that were under threat, were under fire from the Americans, like a real target of the American empire, North Korea, and they did develop nuclear weapons. You don't really hear the saber rattling to go to war against North Korea anymore, do you? So the lesson that the world has learnt is you better acquire nuclear weapons or else you're going to end up dead. A great point that Dave's making there.
Simply not going to make the same type of nuclear agreement they would have made in the past. I mean, if you're Iran, if you're a member of the Iranian government, if you will allow yourself for 1 second to just take it from their perspective, you want a nuclear weapon more than ever. A nuclear weapon really is the one thing that would guarantee that no one's going to do this to you again. And, right now you have the Strait of Hormuz as
which is really sad. Like, as someone who's like, I love peace. I don't like war. I don't want to see war. I don't like the idea of the proliferation of nuclear weapons. Like, that's the last thing that I want to see. These are weapons of mass destruction, very literally. Enough of them could, in theory, blow up the entire world. So, we don't want to see more of that. But like, there's just like lessons to take away from actions. And that's the big lesson. You better acquire these nuclear weapons so that you don't get attacked from the world empire. Yeah, like, again, you don't want to see that. Don't want to see more nuclear weapons in the world. But, like, everyone has self-interest as well. And most people don't want to be fucking violently overthrown. Yeah, like, what else can you say? This is the predicament that every country's in after the precedent has been set.
deterrent, but nothing's quite like, a nuclear umbrella. And so, anyway, so there's just zero evidence that any of that is true. And I will gladly admit I'm wrong if tomorrow the Iranians yell uncle and they just, capitulate and do agree to this. And it turns out he was right. They really wanted to make a deal. But I can't stress enough, there is literally zero evidence right now to indicate that that's even kind of directionally true. Everybody recognizes here, including the Iranians, how much this war is hurting the United States of America and how much it's hurting the world. And they have every incentive in the world to not let Donald Trump off the hook right now. And to make sure that they come out of this in as strong a place and that it took as much of a toll as possible and as much of a guarantee that this will never happen again.
Okay, we'll leave it there. But yeah, Dave's so right, man. And as a result of this action that the Israelis and the Americans have taken by attacking Iran and starting this war, that Iran has emerged stronger. Even with like the Ayatollah being assassinated and his whole or most of his family, and the next like whatever it was, like the next like 30 guys in line to run the regime over there have all been murdered, but the regime still pushes on. They've elected a new Ayatollah who's the son, who's probably more hardline than his father. I mean, he's just had his whole family murdered, his wife, his kids, his dad, many other members of his family. So like how is he not going to be like, fucking not pissed off about that? Like, how is he not going to want revenge for the Americans and the Israelis doing that to his family? So like, we've got a more hardlined Ayatollah in power, and now they are controlling the Strait of Hormuz. Objectively, they are just a more powerful country now. Like that choke point, as we've learned over the last, since this war began, it's like something like 20% or 25% of the world's oil comes through that little choke point, and now they control it. I mean, I think it was Jimmy Carter in the late 70s who he declared that the whole Persian Gulf was now an American lake, essentially, that they are going to provide security for all the Gulf nations. And that is completely blown up. That is no longer the case. Now Iran controls it. And now any ship that wants to pass through there has to denominate the oil sales in Chinese yuan as, stipulated by the Iranians, like that's their demand, and that there's going to be fees now. There's going to be like a dollar per barrel of oil, which apparently is the equivalent of like $1 million each ship or something like that, or $1 million a day. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, so like they're demanding additional fees to pass through, and also they're determining the terms of how the transaction is to be made, that it's no longer everything's in US dollars, that now it's going to be in Chinese yuan. So objectively, Iran is just a more powerful country now and is a real, a real player on this stage, this global, chessboard or whatever. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks, everybody. Please like subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, and follow me on X at Arabancap, ARABANCAP. And yeah, just to say again, like, I don't think I'm an expert. I'm not like trying to be an expert. I'm just like trying to give, put something out there for people to see that, even just like an average Joe like myself, just like a dummy, can like see things for what they are and like understand like what's going on, and that we're being lied to, and that there's that much propaganda out there coming from governments trying to tell you all this bullshit that isn't true. So we see through it. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, doesn't take like someone with a PhD to be able to like understand this stuff. In actual fact, a lot of people with PhDs fall for this stuff. And there was a great quote from Michael Malice. I'll just end on this, but Michael Malice once said that it's easier to train a smart dog than a dumb dog. All right, is what it is. Love you all. Forgive your trespasses, love your enemies, and have a lovely day. Peace out, everyone.